you telling me there's no Santa Claus?
Hello and welcome to the Twin Peaks Watchalong for episode 6 called Don't Die, written by Mark Frost and David Lynch, directed by David Lynch. My guest today is Mandy. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Hi, everyone.
She's a little nervous. She's not really part of the YouTube social scene here. So anyway, I just want to thank you for joining me. It's wonderful. And I always like meeting viewers of the podcast and finding out how on earth did you discover this YouTube channel?
Well, I heard this big kerfuffle about Michael J. Anderson a while back. I guess it was last year. And someone had sent me a link to this video of these two guys talking about it. So I clicked it and listened to you and James go on and on about it. And I just thought it was interesting. So, and you guys knew what you were talking about. So I just jumped on board and started watching from there.
Well, I appreciate it. You know, we didn't go on and on about it too much because it was only like a 15-minute video. Some of our videos are going 2-3 hours, so that's good. So before we begin, why don't you tell the viewers a little bit about your history with the show Twin Peaks?
Well, in '93, my best friend Christina had rented this movie for her birthday party, and it was Fire Walk with Me because she loved Dana Ashbrook. So we watched Fire Walk with Me.
Hold it. How did she know about Dana Ashbrook before? Was she a big Return of the Living Dead Part 2 fan?
No, I'm pretty sure She's Out of Control with Tony Danza.
Oh, and what he was in Ghost Dad too.
Okay, yeah, maybe that too. I'm pretty sure it was She's Out of Control.
Okay.
Because he had the hair and the truck, and it was amazing. So, and she had watched Twin Peaks a little bit on TV. So I started backwards. I watched the movie, was like, what is this amazing thing that I've seen that's terrifying and horrible and beautiful? And then I rented the first season. I think it was out on video. So I watched that repeatedly and eventually got the second season, started going to the fan festivals, and that was it. So started in '93.
So if someone has not been to I'm assuming you're talking about the festival in Snoqualmie.
Yes.
If someone has not been to one of those, obviously there's going to be renewed interest with this new series, but what was that like? Because I remember you telling me once that you went there around 95, 96 and you were 17. Was that, listen, it's a very powerful place to go at any point in your life. But what was that like at such an impressionable age, watching the show and then going to the festival, being there, seeing the Great Northern Hotel above those falls?
It was awesome. The first festival, we start out on Bainbridge Island, where the Kiana Lodge is, where they filmed the pilot, where the log is and stuff like that, in the Martell House. So we all just gathered there. We had our meet and greets with all the celebrities, the celebrity dinner.
Who was your first? Who was your first Twin Peaks celebrity you met?
I think it was Michael J. Anderson.
Wow.
And Jack Nance. Jack Nance was the sweetest man in the entire world. Just super, super nice. Russ Tamblyn, Michael Horst, wow. Kimmy Robertson, just really great. None of them were weird or creepy or anything like that. Frank Silva had already passed away by this point, I think. So, which I didn't want to meet him anyway because he's terrifying. But yeah, we had the dinners, and then, the next day we would do the bus tour and go around to the different sites and do little activities that were super cheesy, and we'd all hang out in rooms and someone would play Laura's theme on the piano while we just talk about stuff. But yeah,
what was the attitude there? Because Fire Walk with Me had come out and obviously it didn't do very well. Was the attitude amongst the actors there is one day we may come back, or was it, well, we tried, the fire burnt out, but we're still celebrating it? Like what?
No, there was none of that. It was all, they were all just, oh, Jan Darcy's another one. She goes to all the festivals, I think. No, everybody was just happy to be there and happy to be celebrated. There wasn't any down talk. There wasn't any talk of a revival or coming back or anything like that back then, as far as I remember. But people just loved being there, and the celebrities loved being there to be around fans, because they're not, they weren't at the time hugely known people, right? So to have this, group of 50 people or so hanging around you, it's pretty cool. So yeah, it was very good, positive atmosphere.
Well, that's wonderful. And I think you mentioned that you went to Snoqualmie when they were filming the new series as well.
Yes, I don't live too far from there, about 3 hours or so. So me and my girlfriends went down for a weekend in September of 2015, and went to the regular spots because I just like going there. Saw the Double R all painted up. They were just getting taking the cherry pickers down at that point, so they had finished filming there. Um, the sign across the street of someone's particular shop was not there, so I didn't know anything about that.
Mhm.
And then we just drove around the corner, and there were all these camera crews and police shielding off traffic. So we looked, and sure enough, there's David Lynch, there's Mark Frost, and then out comes walking Harry Dean Stanton, who I was very surprised to see. I never would have thought that he would have been in the show. I don't know why. I always thought the Fire Walk with Me people, at least the Deer Meadow people, they were done. They were kind of a one-shot deal. But there was Harry Dean, and just super nice, and there was a good little crowd, and yeah, it was just fun.
Well, let's be honest here. The Deer Meadow section would have remained an isolated section, but David Lynch loves working with Harry Dean Stanton.
Mhm.
Ever since they made The Cowboy and the Frenchman together back in 1988, Harry Dean
Yeah.
has been in almost everything he's done except for the series Twin Peaks. But every
Mhm.
feature film he's done, he's well, no, he wasn't in Mulholland Drive, but he was in Straight Story at the very end, and obviously Inland Empire. And so I wasn't surprised that he brought Carl back. What I was interested in was, how was he going to bring Carl back, and what were they going to do with him? Because they
Yeah.
weren't bringing back Piper Laurie, as far as we know,
Mhm.
and other actors. So I was like, okay, so you're going to bring back, Harry Dean Stanton. I know you love working with him. They made that documentary, or he was in that documentary by Harry Dean Stanton. But
Mhm.
what are you going to give us with this character that takes it to the next level, or makes him part of the Twin Peaks universe? Because, I mean, it's not a spoiler anymore, but there was some confusion with this episode, and I want to address that maybe before we begin it, because it's worth talking about. A lot of people assumed, because of Mark Frost's book, that Deer Meadow was the next town over from Twin Peaks, when no, it's supposed to be on the southern border of Washington and Oregon, or the top of Oregon, the bottom of Washington, because Teresa Banks, that's where that happened. I think people were confused because we're at the Fat Trout Trailer Park, but there's a sign that says the new Fat Trout Trailer Park. So it has been moved.
Mhm.
And I understand, because the fact that they even show a similar looking telephone pole that has, by the way, the same numbers on it, but it is a different pole. So some people were like, well, did the pole travel with him? Is that like a just a flashback because he remembers an evil telephone pole in his old park or whatever? No, because the number plate is different. It's the same numbers, but it's a different number plate. So I guess that is just following him around, I guess, sort of like Poltergeist. I don't know. But I know that caused a lot of confusion, because, again, in a show where we're dealing with time and space, and whether we are or we're not dealing with possible alternate timelines or alternate dimensions. I mean, we know we're dealing with the Black Lodge, at least, right? I can understand people being a little bit like, well, is Deer Meadow really next door? You know, did it combine into Twin Peaks? Where, you know, so I get it, but I can only imagine from your point of view, you're like going, what the hell? Carl Rod, what's
Well, and that's exactly it. It was strange. What we saw in last night's episode was not what I saw being filmed. So there's more to come, I guess. So we're not done with Fat Trout yet.
definitely not. And yeah, because we know that they did some filming around there as well, and not just what we've seen. I don't know the proper context of it, but I do know there's more to be done in the Fat Trout Trailer Park, especially since they mentioned a name like Linda. So, yes. Okay. So before we get to the episode, which I know you guys are all here, but I'm trying to let you guys come in and realize, oh, there's a video going on, and get your Showtime streaming all synced up here. Couple things we need to talk about. One is, well, let me just do a self-serving promotion here. I keep forgetting to do this. I did this last night, but I'm going to do it again early. Make sure to like these videos and share them wherever possible. Please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Like I said last night, made a little bet with my wife that I could get to 2,000 subscribers by the end of this month, and she was like, I don't know if you can do that. And I was like, you watch me, I can. These people are fantastic that support this channel. So last time I looked, I'm about 350 subscribers away. So it's still possible. So if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do. There's going to be lots of great videos coming up this whole summer with Twin Peaks and beyond. So thank you. And also just want to say, I appreciate each and every one of you, even if you can't stand me or the videos. I've had a few people just scream at me throughout the afternoon, and I just want you to know that, listen, you guys care, because if you didn't care, you wouldn't be so argumentative with me either. So whether it's positive praise or negative, I just love the fact that you guys are so entrenched in discussing Twin Peaks, David Lynch, and all that stuff. Because I also did a YouTube search today. I was a little taken aback, have to say. I mean, I called this a while ago, but I really was kind of taken aback when you see it. There's like 50 to 100 Twin Peaks videos going up on YouTube a day. That's insane, Mandy.
It's crazy.
And this show, let's be honest here. It's a niche show, right? And I think this new series is a niche series for already a niche show, because this is for, I know some people say newbies are enjoying the show, and that's great if you are. But I still kind of maintain that this is for people who really invested themselves into the show. And that's why I feel like those people are the ones who are truly being rewarded, and other people are watching it for the most part more as maybe a curiosity, or just wanting to be a little bit part of the conversation. But a show that's getting less viewers than an episode of The Vampire Diaries on a weekly basis has more videos being dedicated to it per day, which is wild. I mean, it shows people are just really wanting to sink their teeth into this thing. And yet, I want to thank each and every one of you for returning to this channel again and again and again, because there are so many other YouTube channels and YouTube videos you could be watching. And I know some of you do watch those as well, but there is a tremendous amount of information out there that you guys could just disappear watching those and never come back. But you guys just keep coming back here. And I just want to say thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. It means a lot to me. Okay, now let's get to some real Twin Peaks news here. Julie Cruz confirmed on her Facebook page today that she will be returning to Twin Peaks 2017, or Twin Peaks The Return, pretty soon. Now, we know that she was on the cast list, but it's just great to hear that. And the reason why it even came up is because a guy named Richard Patterson wrote her and said, "Am I missing something? Why aren't you involved in the new Twin Peaks?" And a lot of people chimed in saying, you know, I love the new Twin Peaks. I love the music, but it's a little too hipsterish for me. It lacks the sense of mystique that Julie Cruz brought to it and all that. And then Julie Cruz chimed in and she said, I will be there. Just you wait. Heart. Now, Debbie on this channel then wrote her and said, well, do you have an idea when you might be? And she said, I honestly don't know which episode I would be in, which kind of confirmed to me what I had been suspecting, is that I have a feeling that Lynch shot a number of these musical scenes and just figured out in post-production which one would go with what episode. I don't think that they charted it out and said, okay, this band's gonna close out episode 5. I think they saw the mood, they saw what was being created. They said, this would be a good transition to go from here to here. So who knows? It may end with Julie Cruz singing.
That's how I would like to see it. I mean, with something like her, that she's familiar, right? So when our town eventually gets back to normal and everybody's where they're supposed to be and everybody's in their right mind, bring Julie Cruz back. She can sing and it'll be perfect.
It's just going to close out with her singing Falling, and that'll be the end of the series.
As long as she's the only one singing Fallen.
So. You didn't like the Christabel remake.
Zoop.
Poor Tamara Preston. Or is it Tamara Preston or Tammy? I like how David Lynch took it from Tamara Preston to Tammy in the show.
Yeah, that doesn't even make any sense.
Well, I mean, it makes sense by her name, but it's just like, it definitely shows you this is Mark Frost's idea of Tamara Preston, and this is my version of Tammy.
It's like him being defiant or something. He's like, I'm calling her Tammy.
And and she's gonna strut like she's on a catwalk the whole time.
Yeah, and moving right along.
Yeah. All right, the next thing we're gonna get to, we're gonna have some fun here for a minute, guys. So somebody wrote me today, and they weren't too, I don't know, they're watching the new Twin Peaks, but they're not too keen on it. They're not feeling it. And they were saying that I basically just give 10 out of 10s for everything David Lynch does, and there's no criticism on this channel whatsoever, and I'm just going to praise everything he does and just turn a blind eye to anything. And I'm like, that's not true. I mean, I've been very critical of a lot of things, not necessarily maybe with this show. Maybe when the whole thing's over, I can look back and say, well, maybe that subplot wasn't needed because it didn't tie into this, but I don't know, because I haven't seen the whole movie yet, right? So I'm just taking it episode by episode, part by part. But anyway, it just cracked me up, because it's like, did you not see me just tear into Mark Frost's book last fall? Believe me, I can get pretty critical about stuff. And Mandy, I have to tell you, as a longtime Twin Peaks fan, I was scared to death. Like, what if I don't like this?
It was a thought. Absolutely. I think we all had it. And the fact that it's, I'm going to just rave about it too, but the fact that it's so good and it gets better and better every time you watch it, it's surprising, but there's so much sense of relief with that.
Well, I think that's the best part, because even if you go, I don't know about this, when you go back and watch it again, it's like, no, this is good. And then you watch it again and you go, no, this is really good. It's just that I think for some people, it's so different. I've seen a lot of people online say, well, you have to be a Fire Walk With Me fan, not a Twin Peaks fan to like this. And I'm like, first of all, this has nothing to do with I mean, Twin Peaks is Twin Peaks. Fire Walk With Me is Fire Walk With Me. This is something completely different from those two. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's like, okay, Fire Walk With Me fans will like this more. And it's not even like Inland Empire fans will like this more. It's just, it's its own thing. Mm-hmm. It's the, I myself might say season 3, even though but I do think it's just much like the little man turning into a tree, I think this is the evolution of Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
If all we got was just fan service, Cooper back in the double R drinking coffee and ordering pie, honestly, I would have been bored and a little upset that they were just resting on that. But we all knew they weren't going to do that. But we did not expect what they are being given us. I'll tell you that much.
No, and it's interesting because what is actually happening in Twin Peaks with their people, time is still actually standing quite still, it seems. Like everything is still mundane and everybody's in the same spot and nobody's progressed or moved with life. And it's good for us to see that. But then there's this whole great big world out there too with all these crazy things. And you'll eventually love Dougie. The more you see him, the more he's hilarious. But I like that there's this huge amount of variety. It's like Twin Peaks and David Lynch it's a perfect melding of his movies and the show with Mark Frost dialogue in there.
Well, and also I do see, there's some people saying they don't see Mark Frost at all in this new series, and I completely disagree. There's stuff all over the place.
Yeah.
Because if there's any semblance of order going on, it's otherwise it just might just be all, floating spirits and there's there's at least there's a story you can follow, even though some people have complained that the story doesn't stay in one place long enough for us to get really attached to characters. But that's I get. I mean, it's a valid criticism, but I don't think that's the point so far of the show. But anyway.
Well, yeah, and like I want to see Matthew Lillard again. Like I want to know what happens there. And they presented the first 2 hours as like you can watch it as like a separate movie that doesn't have anything
not in the
to
States.
do.
Not in the States anymore. They've separated it.
Oh, where I am, we always had just the separate episodes, but they work so well together that it seems like just a movie about some guy that's, is being framed for murder or whatever,
Sure.
or arrested for murder. But yeah.
Right. Yeah. I hear the complaints. I understand the complaints. But I don't feel the complaints because there's so many people, even people in the Twin Peaks community, they're just like, I'm sick of Dougie. I'm tired of it. I even saw a YouTube channel where someone in the comments was like, I saw this guy on Obnoxious Anonymous talking about how much he loves the Dougie subplot. I can't stand it. Well, the reason why I like it is because I have a feeling that when Cooper comes back, it's just going to be like, boom. And it's going to be amazing. And in this episode, there's the part where the one-armed man says, don't die and wake up. And I saw a lot of people online saying today, I kept waiting for Cooper to wake up so we could just get back to the old Twin Peaks again. But if that happened, I would have been really upset because then it would have made the whole Dougie thing feel like it was all for nothing. And the reason why it's not going to be all for nothing, I feel, is because we're being taken through this process of the man discovering who he is. And if all of a sudden he's just sitting at the dinner table and poof, he's back to Agent Cooper again, it's going to make those episodes where he was Dougie real tedious because you're going to be like, well, there was no point to this. It was silly. And then we got boom, poof, he's back. He has to earn his way back to being Dale Cooper. And that's why the Dougie storyline, I think, is going to stick.
And it's not that bad. Again, the more you watch it, the more you kind of fall in love with it. But after Mike had said that, I actually was thinking for a minute, oh, is that going to be enough to like wake him up? Is something really drastic going to happen? And I mean, I guess it kind of did, but we'll see that in a few minutes. But it's interesting.
Well, let's get to some of these like wonderful reviews that are on IMDb right now. I just want to go through a few things. The common review is a 1-star review, which is shocking to me. One begins, "You have got to be kidding me. David Lynch completely ruined Twin Peaks for me. I cannot even begin to describe my disappointment with season 3. I wish I could delete my memory of those embarrassing first 4 episodes. Yeah, let's see. The story is, I have no idea. The soundtrack, there is none. Every episode ends with some band playing at the Bang Bang Bar, and they're pretty good. Okay. Then, next one from Anna Cola. Such a terrible viewing experience. 1 star. It's like, what the hell, people? Really? What was that? No, this is not intelligent or compelling in any way, shape, or form. It's like a bad joke being perpetrated on the viewers. You have 5 minutes of people speaking very slowly and scene. Then you get 5 minutes of some guy doing nothing but unloading a truck. I'm serious. End scene. Then you get 3 minutes of a guy sitting in a chair. End scene. Oh my God, this is hilarious. You know, oh yeah. For those familiar with Better Call Saul, this is like Better Call Saul, but without it being any good. So,
oh my goodness.
The next one is David Lynch is laughing at us. 1 star. I don't know what shocks me the most. The sad excuse for a comeback or the fact that people like it. We are presented with a steaming pile of excrement, neatly wrapped in golden foil, and told it is art. I can see David Lynch rubbing his hands and laughing at our expectations. I am embarrassed for the actors who had to endure such public humiliation. I am embarrassed for those hired to post fake reviews and give this show a 10 out of 10. And I am embarrassed of myself for watching all 5 episodes of this monstrosity. This is great, man. You guys should really read this stuff. This is hilarious. Next one is from NetPirate. OMG WTF. I have to wonder if David Lynch is in the throes of Alzheimer's or is taking meth, as the 2017 version of this show is god awful. Whoever put up the money to produce this mess should have just thrown it out in the street. At least then someone could have come along and gotten some use of it. Oh, man. Let's see here. Yeah, I can't read that one, even though it is pretty funny. Trying to keep this somewhat family oriented here. Some people say this show is good, exceptional, and intelligent. Well, let me clear it up. It is not. It's a series of slow, uneventful, bobo-headed, random scenes, no longer than a few minutes each, and trying desperately to be like Fargo, but failing miserably.
Oh.
I am
trying to be like Fargo. Wow.
I am literally shaking my head as I type this, wondering what I am missing. But before I turn it off, I thought to myself, if you ever second guess yourself, no, you were right. I can just see David Lynch raising his glass at the post-production party, telling the hundreds of people involved with filming to be sure to go leave reviews and ratings for this mess. Don't listen. This show is leprosy. Wow. Man, they take this stuff seriously. And people complain that I take it seriously. Please. At least I'm not writing 1-star reviews like this. Okay, last one. Someone save David Lynch. 1 star. Excuse me. It looks like Mr. Lynch has started to take drugs, because there's no other explanation for this monstrosity called Twin Peaks Season 3. There's no story, stupid characters, and let's not forget the ending songs in the bar. David Lynch, from an original Twin Peaks fan, seek help and don't direct anything anymore, please. Wow. That's what I call love.
Mm-hmm.
Just nothing but love and affection from the fans.
That must have been a true fan, because they didn't call it the Bang Bang Bar. They just called it the bar. So.
Oh, did you not notice in that wonderful clip I played? Let me just play it again for anyone who who was late to the show. Let's play it again, shall we?
Are you telling me there's no Santa Claus? Hey, Roadhouse.
Even Jacques Renault answers the phone. Hello, Roadhouse. All right, let's stop trolling all the haters out there, and let's get going on this show. So you are watching it, not like me. So does your episode start right away, or do you have like a minute commercial before yours starts?
Oh yeah, I just have to press play and I'm good to go.
Okay, so I have like a 1 minute commercial before, because that's the way Showtime does things. So I'll let you know when the actual episode's about to go. All right. Okay. So you guys get synced. We got almost 100 viewers here watching live. This is fantastic. Thank you for joining us. And we're gonna get going here. This is amazing. Episode 6 of Twin Peaks. We are 1/3, Mandy. We are 1/3 through this entire show. If this is a 3-act structure, and it's not, but let's just say it is for the sake of arguments, we are done with the first act. I have no idea where the hell this show is going next.
No, not at all.
I mean, the next 5 episodes.
All of a sudden, it seems like it's going fast now. When you say it like that, it's like we've already got 6 and we only have this many left. It's like, oh, I'm not ready for it to be even halfway done yet.
And that's what cracks me up, because there's people who are writing all these 1-star reviews, but then there's other people saying, where's season 4? Where's season 5? Because Kyle is coming out saying, I want to do more seasons. So, you know what? That's all up to Lynch and Mr. Frost.
Yeah. And none of us can judge any of this because we have, like you said, no idea where this is going, and maybe they'll leave it open.
Listen, I love this show. But when this thing is over, you never know. We may look back and go, I mean, let's say he's Dougie all the way until the 18th episode, and the very last scene, he drinks some coffee, becomes Agent Cooper, and says, I'm back. Freeze frame.
Yeah.
Right? You never know. We may snap as fans and say, oh, my Lord, what did you do to us? But right now, I'm enjoying the journey.
Exactly.
So we do reserve the right to criticize this show if after it's all over and done with. But right now, we're having fun. I don't care if it's trying to be like Fargo or Better Call Saul. Okay, you can take your 1-star reviews and shove them. Take that Garmin Bosey and shove it up your old wazoo. All right, let's do this. Let's get synced up. I'm sure you guys are already synced up. Like, God damn, when are they going to begin this show? All right, here we go. I'm hitting play in 6, 5. Mandy, don't start your episode yet because I got a commercial.
Okay.
3,
okay.
2, and 1. Hit play. Oh, Showtime. Gotta love the Showtime. Oh, they're giving us the Twin Peaks commercial a little bit where they have Dale driving in the car. So I guess Showtime is trying to let the viewers know he won't be Dougie all season. Relax, people. And they're trying to advertise all the shows. Shameless and was it Billions and what was that other thing they did? That Jim Carrey one. But all right, so here comes the Showtime logo again. Woo! And all right, go for it. Hit play.
Okay. I actually like the scrolling marquees that they've been, their little commercials for it. I really like those. They're fun. Yeah. They still don't give anything away, but they're fun.
Have you noticed, Mandy, that the Rancho Rosa sign changes with every new episode?
Yeah, and this one, the yellow was only in the middle.
Okay.
It's kind of different. So, yeah, I mean, one time it was all black and white. Then there was one with black and white and red, and one with all yellow. And yeah, so I have no idea what it means, but that's okay.
It's because it's taking us down a road that's both wonderful and strange, Mandy. Don't you know?
That is very true.
All right, I don't know about you, but I'm digging these opening credits. They're very different than the original credits, but you still get the same feeling.
And they're shorter. I love that.
But you know what, though?
The other ones were so long.
But don't you miss, though, the end of the episodes how they don't say anymore executive producer Mark Frost, David Lynch. I missed that. How the original series all ended with that credit, you know.
Well, anything to get away from these music videos at the end. I'm not digging that too much. So, okay, are you on the squiggly floor and the drapes?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. You tell me you don't like the bronze treatment of Twin Peaks?
Not at all.
All right. Okay. So we begin basically where we left off in the last credits. Dougie's still staring at the statue, and red balloons, of course, still everywhere. And now he's pulling at his sleeve. I'm not trying to figure out like why is he pulling on this green sleeve? Make sure, Mandy, make sure your volume's down so we don't hear anything.
Oops.
But why do you think he's pulling on his green sleeve?
It's strange because, I mean, that's the arm that was wearing the ring before when he was real Dougie. And I mean, I was trying to think, like, is he trying to hold it because it's hurting or because it's gone dead? But he's not really doing anything with it. He's just holding it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. He's just being Dougie. Yeah.
I have to say, though, I love this officer. You know, him and Jade are like the only, maybe the guy in the elevator too, but definitely this guy and Jade are the only two that have any kind of real empathy for Dougie. Mm-hmm. Everybody else just kind of tolerates Dougie or moves him along down the corridor, or in Janie's case, screams at him. You know, but this guy actually is like, let me help you.
Now, what did you think about the sleeve?
I have no idea. That's why I asked you.
Okay.
I just thought it was an interesting touch that he was no longer looking at the statue; he was concentrating on his sleeve. Mm-hmm. You know, maybe he's trying to get out of this coat and get back into his old suit. But
he could also be cold because he's been standing outside for who knows how long, just staring at the statue. So
yeah, well, it's supposed to be the same day, you know, that of what we last saw. Now you notice Dougie's house, the address is 25140. Someone else thought it was the same number from the telephone pole, and it's not. Oh, no. It looks like it, but it's not. Just want to throw that out there for people because I know everyone's looking for connections everywhere. But Kyle, I have to say, I mean, how much praise can you heap on this guy? He's so touching as this character. As this Dougie character, you feel really bad for him. And I know that I've had some people contact me saying that they feel like some people are laughing at him, and you know, they felt like the audiences were laughing at a mentally handicapped person, and I don't think people are laughing at Dougie. I think they're laughing with the situation because we all know he's trapped inside, and here he is touching the officer's badge, and he keeps saying badge. And so in every episode, we're getting a little bit more Cooper, you know, coming back. And Naomi Watts, I think, her character really steps up the game in this episode, you know.
I was scared about that at first because I thought, why would they cast someone like her to be some rando's wife? Like, we're not going to see her very much. Like, why waste her on that? And now I'm completely wrong.
But I love the fact she asked him about the car again, like, where's your car? In the last episode, she asked him where his car was, and then immediately shot him a look like she knew that he left it at some woman's house or something that he was cheating on her with. But here again, she's asking about the car. It almost seems like she doesn't remember what she last talked to him about. It's kind of interesting. And also, I was thinking about Mulholland Drive too, where this is the second time that she's worked with David Lynch where a character has brought a huge amount of money to Naomi Watts' character.
Hey, that's true. Yeah.
So
now, isn't Laura Herring supposed to be in this show too at some point?
I don't think so.
Oh, I thought I read that somewhere.
If you were to ask me, I would have preferred her to play Tamara Preston or Tammy.
Oh yeah.
I think she probably would have been really wonderful. Not saying that Christabel isn't doing a good job. I'm just saying that I think Laura Elena Harding could have done everything Christabel does and more. So she sends Dougie Cooper up. Notice how like it's really interesting because the apples like match his coat, and then if you look behind Amy Watts, right, you have the yellow phone cord, her blouse, and then you have the yellow light. So there's like matching colors everywhere, which of course, you know, is I mean, obviously it's good filmmaking, but it's also just quite interesting to look at. So he goes up there to see Sonny Jim, his son. You'll notice that the interior of Sonny Jim's room is all cowboys and Native Americans, which is interesting. And on his desk drawer, his little dresser right next to his bed, he has a cowboy and a Native American standing there in the exact same pose as the statue that Dougie was looking at for the most of the day. And in the dresser as well, he has a stack of Hardy Boy books, which of course David Lynch was trying to emulate a little bit when he was making Blue Velvet, a film that obviously starred Carl McLaughlin and Laura Dern. Now here's something that I've seen a lot of people discuss this episode of Twin Peaks. No one has brought this up yet, so I'm shouting it out. And that is, one, Sonny Jim talks, right? That's a new thing. But the first thing Sonny Jim says is, I already brushed my teeth. The last thing we heard the doppelganger say in the missing pieces is, I haven't brushed my teeth yet. Weird.
Yeah.
I'm just saying,
man, that kid is so cute. He is just adorable.
But here's the thing. Do you think that Sonny Jim could always talk, or did he just like start talking?
It's weird. It's weird because of the way Cooper acts with him as opposed to other people. Like him, he automatically knows to goof around and kind of joke with him, and now he's placing this potato chip on his blanket, which is hilarious. When he cries and he's emotive with him, but everybody else, he's still like so catatonic. So there's a connection, but I don't know what it is. But that is very interesting that is the first thing he says. My gosh, this clapping scene is just hilarious to me.
Yeah, Kyle definitely. I mean, I have no idea, obviously, where this show is going to go, but so far, I think this is the most interesting character that Kyle's ever played in a role that he inhabited once upon a time. It's like, a lot of actors, don't want to come back and play the same character again and again and again because there's nothing new to explore. Well, Frost and Lynch just gave Kyle like 150 new layers to Agent Cooper that wasn't there before. So, and
he's so fantastic. Like every time he's on screen, whoever he is, you can't take your eyes off him. He's just amazing.
Right. And also what's interesting about Naomi Watts' character of Janie E is, at first I was thinking, gosh, it's kind of like an abusive like marriage. She just shoves him around and, you have a lot of explaining to do and that type of thing. And even here, she's like yelling at him, obviously, because he's cheating on her, where he says, Jay gives 2 rides, and she goes, I bet she does.
That's the second best scene of this whole episode is Jay gives 2 rides. Albert's number 1. Albert had me on the floor.
But she is, it's weird because she gets really upset about the infidelity. And then it's like, nope, the moment there's a threat that comes in, she's a united front with Dougie. That's interesting. Also, we have another King Arthur reference in this episode because they live on Lancelot Court down from Merlin Market, and she tells the blackmailers that she's going to meet him at the park at the corner of Merlin and Guinevere. It's very interesting. I mean, it may lead to nothing, but it is really interesting that Mark Frost is insisting that they carry over this King Arthur motif that was introduced in the final episode in Twin Peaks.
For literally like 1 second. So it is. It's like they're putting a lot of attention on that all of a sudden, but
yeah.
I mean,
And I
That's
just
where it
have to
goes.
say, what kind of person says the words noon 30? I've never heard that before in my life. Because then she says 12:30, and but noon 30, I've never heard anybody say that before in my life. But you know, it's funny because she has this master plan here because they have $425,000, and she's figured out a way to pretty much pocket most of it.
Yeah. No, she's doing a great job, that's for sure.
And that's
But it still is weird that she's not, that she's kind of accepting of Dougie just being so catatonic most of the time. Like, what was he really like?
Yeah, and she's very understanding of a lot of his foibles, and maybe because they have $425,000 right now.
Well, I'd be pretty forgiving with that too. So,
but she could literally take the money and go, and Dougie would not even know like that she left with that money.
Well, he can't even get into a car, so
yeah,
she'd be okay.
Now she keeps referencing Dr. Ben. I kept thinking, is that someone we know, but we haven't, put two and two together? Hopefully it's not Dr. Ben Horn.
That's the last doctor you want.
Yes. Yeah. His waiting room is at One Eye Jack's.
That I'm wondering if that's going to come back. When he was referencing the spa, those ladies keep our spa running. I thought, like, is that your new code for like One Eye Jack's? But I don't know. I guess we'll see.
Yeah. But yeah. Naomi Watts. I thought she was doing a great job before. I mean, it was a simple character, it seemed like, but I thought she was doing a really nice job playing this kind of stay-at-home wife that just nags and complains and yells at her husband all the time. But I think they take her character definitely to the next level.
Now, I don't know how completely synced we are, but the scene, she just kissed him.
Yes.
And he looked up into the sky. And to me, that it was kind of like a Laura thing. Like Laura was the last person that would have kissed him, and he's looking up for her. It just struck me as interesting that there are little bits trying to get back into his brain.
Right. And then we get the traffic light and the static electricity and also the sound of the phonograph from the scene with the giant. Now Al Strobel continues the largest role of his career in this series of Twin Peaks.
I'm so glad for him. It's awesome.
Yeah, he just gets to just wander around this Black Lodge. Now, here's the thing that's weird. The music playing right now is Cooper-esque Black Lodge music, and you see kind of Cooper coming back a little bit when he sees the one-armed man say, you have to wake up, don't die. And then when Cooper snaps back into Dougie, the jazz Dougie score comes back. It's almost like we almost get Cooper, but no. And I'll tell you something that is making me a little worried, Mandy.
Okay.
A lot of people are saying, it's going to be a cup of coffee or a donut or something like that. It's going to wake Cooper up, and all of a sudden he's going to be Agent Cooper again. Either he has to go through some sort of electrical current outlet again to pass through the lodge and get back the other side, or that little man, Ike the Spike, that we're going to be introduced later in this episode, is going to kill him, and his spirit is going to go into the lodge, and then they're going to have to get him out that way.
I can't even comment on that. That would literally be the worst thing ever. I'll just say that right off the bat. If he gets killed by this little guy with his ice pick, it would just be crazy.
So here we have these, much like the red, drapes, whatever that was helping him in, the Mr. Jackpot scenes in Las Vegas. Now we have this little speckle of gold light that is showing him like where to make these pencil marks. Now he's doing things like, drawing ladders and staircases. It reminded me, I know everyone kind of sees their own thing, but it really reminded me of the ladder that he was climbing with the blind Asian woman, because there's a lot of symbolism of like things falling and climbing and stuff like that. And that was the last thing he really saw before he got his head, he got fried and then went through the electrical current outlet. I mean, so who knows? But I was looking at these claims because I kept thinking, because people start putting it in my head, that one of these claims was going to be the one for Harry Truman from the opening when the insurance agent comes to see Lucy. And I thought maybe that would be a spark, but we don't have that. Seems like just unintentionally Dougie stumbles upon some fraud going on, and but he has no idea because he's too busy drawing ladders and stairs.
Which is so endearing, and I'm looking forward to seeing what actually comes of that, like with his, with the big circles and the lines going here and there and crisscross and the stairs. Like the boss has obviously seen something, so what is it?
Right. And I love the fact that his boss, we'll get to that scene, but his boss is like, what is this, Dougie? This is ridiculous. And then as he keeps looking, he's realizing that Tom Sizemore is a liar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I wonder if Dougie wasn't in cahoots with Tom Sizemore, and that's why Sizemore's getting a little angry with him, because maybe he feels like he's getting ratted out by, because when Sizemore says to him in a previous episode, I covered for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was he just covering because Dougie wasn't at work, or was he covering for him because Dougie was supposed to help out with the scam?
Mm-hmm.
I guess we'll find out.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, this little light is just guiding Cooper, or Dougie, whatever you want to call him. He's just getting, now it says investigating officers, Detective Loomis and Detective Stockton. Are those, I can't remember, are those any names of the detectives in South Dakota or anything?
I don't think so. They didn't look familiar.
Okay.
But
because you just want to like analyze every frame.
Of course. I wish I could blow up my TV screen to read those reports properly. But
yeah, there's a lot of ladders, and I remember watching this last night going, oh shoot, and shoots and ladders. Hello everybody.
Yeah.
I'll be playing it. I'll be at the Improv this Friday.
Yeah. Is this thing on?
I should have a laugh track on this show. That'd be great.
Loomis and Stockton. Well, I guess we can keep our eye out for it to see if we see those again. But
right. All right, here comes one of your favorite moments. Albert in the rain, talking with Gordon, who apparently is having a nice Bordeaux, which is so bizarre because like it went from Albert, we need to talk to this woman too. I'm gonna sit and have a Bordeaux while you're out in the rain. And
yeah, he's like, have fun.
Have you noticed in this episode too that in previous episodes of the season, they've done these establishing, city shots with the name of the city. We don't even know really where we are right now. I mean, some people are saying
that's a good point.
They're saying Philadelphia, New York. Want to just say, obviously, we're going to get our introduction to Diane, who in the credits is listed as Diane Evans. Very interesting. Obviously played by Laura Dern. This has been something that the fans have been thinking and wanting since 1990. Have to say they nailed it. I know Lynch doesn't read a lot of the accompanying books, that talk about Twin Peaks. He didn't even read his own daughter's diary that she wrote for Laura Palmer. But Erica in the one of the viewers here says that if you read Cooper's autobiography, My Life, My Tapes, he describes Diane as a cross between a saint and a cabaret singer. And if you take that and look at the way they've dressed Laura Dern, that is what she looks like.
Yeah. And she does so good, just even in just this 2 seconds, like the way that her whole body like shakes when she hears her name, because who knows what name she's going by now. But yeah, this is going to be fun.
And I'm looking forward to seeing that. Mandy, I love the fact that in this scene, they completely just threw away that terrible theory that Maniacs came up with, I don't know when, 10 years ago, whatever, maybe or earlier than that Diane never existed. that Agent Cooper was a nutcase and was just talking to some random nobody on his dictaphone. I always was like, what are you talking about? Like,
I'm glad I never heard that one, because it's so ridiculous. Like,
did you
earplugs? Hello.
did you ever, when you watched the original series, ever think to yourself that Cooper was insane?
Never.
Yeah. And anyone who thought that Cooper was insane,
he's not insane.
yeah, anyone who thought that Cooper was insane, and they're like, well, we never see Diane, he's always talking to nobody. That was part of the fun of it.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so now
speaking of insane.
Speaking of insane, we get this long scene here. We have Richard Horn here. I don't know who's a bigger ass in this show, Richard Horn or Deputy Chad. But Richard Horn, let's deal with him right now. He's talking to Red, played by Balthazar Getty. We last saw Red in the Roadhouse, talking to or making kind of gestures at Shelley. I got the impression in that episode that they were already kind of seeing each other,
or that something had happened.
Obviously, he's into drug dealing. Goes to show that Miss Shelley is not done being attracted to bad boys. They do mention the name Mary Ann, and we'll see if that connects later in this series. There is another character coming up that is not named Mary Ann. Her name is Miriam, and maybe there's a connection, maybe not, but we'll talk about that when that comes up. If you notice, Red's hand is shaking, much like a lot of the characters towards the end of season 2, and also, of course, we get the King and I reference, which last was heard in the original series when Leland is singing "Getting to Know You," and Jack Nance's Pete Martell says "The King and I." So
I completely forgotten about that.
There's little nooks and crannies and clues all over this place.
Yeah, Balthazar Getty he's amazing,
and he doesn't look a thing like Pete Dayton from Lost Highway. You think so?
I kind of do. Like, if it turns out that he's actually going to be Pete Dayton, I would not be surprised one bit. Not one bit. I'd be pleasantly surprised, actually.
Okay, I'm telling you right now, if this show ends having all taken place in Bill Pullman's head, masterpiece.
Oh, I'd love that.
Complete.
See Bill Pullman laying on the bed and waking up going, wow.
And then he just looks at the camera and says, what a psychogenic fugue I just went into.
Oh, that would be amazing and horrifying at the same time. I liked Lost Highway. I really liked it. I saw it in the theater a couple times. I loved the soundtrack. I pretended to be all emo for a bit there, and I loved it. I didn't like the Marilyn Manson bits, but I don't know. I like the story. I love the dual timelines, dual people roles and stuff, and I like that they're doing that in here too.
Right. Do you think there's any connection between Dougie and Dougpa? Someone wants to know in the chat.
Ugh.
Or what did you think of that crazy anagram I talked about yesterday?
I'm going to be humble and honest here. I do not understand anagrams at all. I don't know how they work. I don't know how people get that stuff. I read that and I was like, I can't even go there. I'm good with pictures. I can remember pictures.
For those of you who don't know, the anagram was Dougie, Janie E, and Sonny Jim. If you mix up all the letters, you get Josie, Judy, and my Annie gone. I don't know if that... To me, that's pretty awesome, but I mean, that could just be random too. I mean, who knows? I mean, you never know. What did you think of this dime bit? Did you take this as Red is truly blessed with the powers of the supernatural, or do you think that Richard Horn is just stoned out of his mind?
Well, I think both of them are. That's the thing. Like, I mean, even Balti's acting completely crazy, with his attempted punchings and stuff. And I love how Richard is Like, he's so scared. Every time Balti moves, he's terrified.
Right.
But this whole thing, I don't even know.
But even when he's like saying, "Don't call me kid," like he's Marty McFly or something in Back to the Future Part 2 or something, and then Red just like kid. He just
yeah.
well, because
yeah.
Well, what does he got to fear? He's got this huge African American guy behind him with like an assault rifle. But I would say that Richard Horn is definitely a crazy dude, man. You do not want to mess with. And of course, I'm sitting here during this whole scene like, hey, what happened to what's her name, Charlotte, in the previous episode? He was like groping in the booth. Yeah.
I hope he dies very soon.
Oh yeah, when Balthazar Getty says, I'm gonna eat your brains, and all this stuff. I was thinking, can we just get that over with right now, please?
Yeah.
Some people are saying, is he Audrey's kid? Is he Donna's kid? And all this stuff. I had somebody write in today. They want to remain anonymous, but they said, listen, he must have been disowned by the family because look at this truck he's driving. I mean, it's like, this is not someone with money.
Yeah, that's very true. And yeah, the Audrey Bad Cooper, I can't even deal with that. I don't like it at all.
Oh, I love it.
I know you love it. I can't stand it. I think it makes zero sense to me. I think it would be a terrible way to go. And you know what? Ben Horn got around so much that it could be his kid too. We don't know. We haven't been around for 25 years.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Maybe it's like some prostitute from One Eye Jack's kid or something.
Yeah.
So here we are at the new Fat Trout Trailer Park. We are introduced to this guy, Mickey, who is talking about his girlfriend, Linda. So I think it's really cool that they went from Richard in the show, and then we get this cutaway to them talking about Linda. So we obviously get Richard and Linda. See, this show is holding your hands a little bit, people. It's not just trying to be all crazy and surreal every second of the time. They talk about that she's going to need an electric wheelchair. And of course, this is our reintroduction to Carl Rod from Fire Walk with Me. Harry Dean Stanton, who apparently, took one look at the script and decided to ad-lib most of his part here. Because this whole line about, I've been smoking for 75 years and stuff. I mean, that's a Harry Dean Stanton line.
Yeah. Yeah. He's so good.
Oh, yeah. No, he's wonderful. And he's just like sitting in this car like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing here, but I'm gonna have a good time. It's always fun to hang out with David, and
yeah, exactly.
He doesn't ask any questions like why did I can guarantee you Harry Dean Stanton did not ask Mark Frost and David Lynch why is the Fat Trout Trailer Park now closer to Twin Peaks. Like he probably thinks he's still at the same one.
Yeah, I can guarantee it, and that's okay because we love him anyway.
Oh yeah, no, he's great.
What's this other guy's name now?
His name's Mickey.
Mickey. Okay, so Mickey and Linda are married and they live with his grandmother. Is that what's happening?
I thought she was just his girlfriend, but either are they're
together.
Yeah, it's kind of like Becky and Steven, It's like in the show it looks like they're dating, and then you read the credits and you find out they're married. So,
yeah.
Now there's a weird shot of the double R. It's like they just have the roof and then the mountains.
Yeah.
And then we heard the name Heidi in the last episode, but here we see Heidi again, and she just cannot stop giggling.
She's the cutest.
She is. And now we are introduced to a character named Miriam. Now, there's some speculation out there that Miriam is the same person as Marianne that Red was talking to Richard Horn about. The reason for that is because she does leave this huge tip. And so she may be involved in the drug running. And also she spots Richard driving the truck. And at first you think, she may be a witness towards him hitting the kid, but she kind of shoots him a look like, you're going to bring attention to our scheme we got going on in this town. I mean, we don't have a definite answer, but it will be interesting to see if she just is this, this carefree teacher, or if there is something more ominous going on. let's see. You wanted to say something about that character, Miriam, though.
I did. David Lynch has typically used heavier women in not so nice roles, and they usually end up being murdered within about 30 seconds of being on screen. They're never done up. They're frumpy and dull clothes, and they're either used for comic relief or they're killed right away. And then there's Miriam, who's this beautiful girl. She's got bright colors on, bright clothes, and I just thought that was refreshing to see that he didn't use not much like the girl at the beginning of the show,
Right.
with her little dog. But I just thought it was a nice touch because it's different because he doesn't normally use people like that. So I liked that.
You see the heavier set women in Wild at Heart as the porno girls coming out at.
Well, yeah, like he just doesn't use them in positive ways, and it's like this is normal. This is what actual normal people look like. So let's use them more.
And if you ate pie every day in the town of Twin Peaks, this is what you would probably look like.
Absolutely.
Right? And that's why Harry in the show goes, man, oh man, you must have the metabolism of Bumblebee.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're showing this mom and this kid running around. Now, were you there for the shooting of this scene?
No.
Okay.
No, mine was just at the trailer park.
Okay. Now,
but I kept waiting. When Harry's looking up there into the trees and stuff,
yeah,
I had this weird feeling. I'm like, I feel like Laura's gonna fall out of the sky. I don't know why. I thought he could like sense her or see her. It was weird.
Yeah. Now I had this part kind of spoiled for me. There were rumors. Obviously, there were people on the set when this happened, obviously, because it was shot right out in broad daylight in front of everybody. And people online were reporting about this scene being shot. So I didn't know the context of it. Some people had assumed this was how the show was going to begin. The show was going to begin with a kid getting killed right outside the Double R Diner.
Oh.
Obviously it wasn't supposed to begin that way, but some people assumed that this would be the murder or something like that would kick off the whole thing. So obviously that didn't happen, but still it was like when I saw that moment, I was like, oh, this is what I heard about. And of course, this is a very interesting scene because here we have Richard, staring down Miriam, and she's just, I think to me, it looks like she is noticing him and she's going to be a witness. I hope that she's not a drug runner.
But with the editing, he's driving super fast, and he would have been very far down the road at this point, so she wouldn't have even been able to see what was going on. If you really look how close it is.
But this is the intersection where the one-armed man confronted Leland and Laura in Fire Walk with Me. It's not directly across from the diner. But okay, so now we have what looks like his soul, the little boy's soul, going up into the sky. You'll notice it does go past the electrical wires, so it doesn't get eaten up by those. I had some people say to me, it's not the boy's soul, Cameron, it's his Garmin Bosia going up. And that doesn't look like cream corn to me flying through the air.
No.
Sorry, folks. Good try. I understand. That would have been a very interesting visual effect to see this little pile of cream corn going up into the air. Yes. Now this scene is really interesting to me because obviously it's very moving, it's very touching, but the background players, I don't know whether they're doing this like if this is over the top acting or whether this is realistic of people just in shock about what was happening. I can go either way. On a good day, I think that this is the way people they wouldn't know what to do. They would just kind of stand there in shock and disbelief. On a bad day, I go, these are background players that got their close up in their first Hollywood production and are completely overdoing it. So.
I think it might be a little bit of both. And really, like, what group of people would send a 90-year-old man to go and help the woman in the middle of the road? Like, there are many people that could have helped, but
So then we get the shot of the telephone pole. This is not the same telephone pole from Fire Walk with Me. Obviously, but it's the same number 6, and it's also the same numbers on it of the 3, 2, and 4, whatever. So it's a different plate. So it's not like it's not a flashback to the Fire Walk with Me trailer park. Harry Dean Stanton wasn't having like a telephone pole flashback or something. It's it looks like the number plate has like followed its way to Twin Peaks as well. Okay, now we have this character who we haven't seen in a while. This is not the guy who became the new casino manager. This is the other guy that most looks like his doppelganger. This is the Winkies guy from Mulholland Drive. And he's on his terrible laptop. I have to say, those ThinkPad laptops are awful. I don't know why someone in a business office would be using one of those laptops. But anyway, he gets this red box showing up on his computer, and so he knows he has to get this white envelope, and which is going to send us to Ike the Spike here. Again, though, we have no announcement that this is Las Vegas, right? This episode just does away with all of those announcement of cities. We're just there. And obviously now we're at Rancho Rosa again. Now I want to bring this up. This comes from Stephanie. She thinks that, again, this points to maybe a different timeline because this is the next day and the police are now dealing with an exploded car on the driveway and getting the evidence from the woman's roof. They would leave that up there the entire day from yesterday all the way until the next day. So that's an interesting argument there. You'd be like, well, why are they dealing with this the next day? They don't leave traffic accidents like this around for 24 straight hours. And obviously the crack mom in there still screaming 119. It's like, we get it, David. We get it. How many times is she going to scream?
And that's what I had emailed you about, was that it's actually the same shot from the first time we see her. Like, completely identical. So that's why I was like, what time frame are we actually in? I don't think they're lazy enough to just use the same shot. I think there has to be a reason for it, but
right. So here we have this Ike the Spike. You'll notice he's got his ice pick already on his table next to his little salt shaker and his dice. Again, dice coming in and playing a role. He gets the white envelope. Obviously, this is sent to him. He's the this hitman. And what's interesting, he pulls out 2 pictures. One is of Lorraine, who was worried about her death in the last episode because she failed to have Dougie assassinated. And the other picture is of Dougie. And whenever he looks at her, for some reason, this like hip hop beat comes on.
That's like Lorraine's theme. Every time she's on, it's like the 3 times she's on, that song starts so that we know that it's Lorraine. It's so funny.
But see, this is what makes me nervous, that he's going to end up killing Dougie, and that's what's going to get Cooper back to the lodge to come back out. Because I mean, we all think that Cooper's going to snap out of it. But what if the only way is to send Cooper back to the lodge, and the only way to do that is to kill him?
Well, and in the gray room, which I kind of think actually takes place in the middle of the show, he's back in the black suit, but he doesn't have his pin on.
Right.
So, and he doesn't have his pin on now. So, I mean, maybe. I don't want to see him die, though. Oh my gosh, this is the best scene. The elevator. He's so cute.
Look at the smile.
He inches closer a little bit. Every time he inches closer, because he's trying to play. That's the thing. It's so random when he chooses to be somewhat human.
Yeah.
He's so proud of himself.
But it's so different than when the doppelganger pretends to be human and gives that thumbs up. That's creepy.
Oh,
this is more like endearing.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because it is the same actor, right? So, and yet he's playing Dougie pretending to be a regular person, and then the other character is the doppelganger pretending to be human. And 2 entirely different reactions. And it's not just because his hair is different.
Yeah. He's so good in this.
And obviously, his boss wants to see how many of these case files that he has done to determine whether he's going to keep working at this place. And this is going to get the attention of Sizemore. I have a feeling that Sizemore is going to try to like beat up Dougie, and he's going to get fired. Something I can't see him just like continuing to work there, and Dougie gets removed or something like that.
I haven't thought a lot about Tom Sizemore, but I want to know why that little light flashed on his. I want to know more about that.
Well, I wonder if, I mean, because there just seems to be little clues from, you know, the supernatural world guiding Dougie through his crusade.
Yeah.
Again, there's dice and red balloons on Tom Sizemore's wall as well.
Yeah.
I you know, some people are saying to me, Cameron, do you really think these red balloons and dice are going to play a factor? I have no idea. I just think that Frost and Lynch are just having fun with us too, you know, kind of putting these little things everywhere. Now, I thought this was touching. Besides the fact of Bushnell's boss is wanting to get him some professional help here. Dougie noticing that Bushnell once upon a time was a young man, and now looking at him behind this desk. And I think that Dougie kind of senses his own mortality, even though he can't really express it in words. And I've never seen, listen, I'm a big fan of Kyle MacLachlan, but I've never seen him portray more sadness behind these eyes ever. I mean, not even when he was married to Charlotte in Sex and the City did he ever look this sad.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, I think with life experience, I think that, you know, he can look back at parts of his career and think, well, that worked out, or that didn't work out, or that was a nice experience, but it didn't do anything for me. And, you know, it's much like the characters in Twin Peaks. You know, Kyle's acting career was on the rise, you know, Blue Velvet, Twin Peaks, he was in The Doors, he was, you know, and then right after the Showgirl situation, he kind of flattened out for a long time, even though he was in big shows, Sex and the City, Desperate Housewives, but no one tuned in really because he was on those shows. He just was a cool part of those shows. And then in Portland,
and he played characters that were, you know, he was being groomed to be the leading man, right? Like he was going to be the top dog kind of thing, and then he gets put in these secondary roles that is so what's that word,
beneath
like
him?
Demasculating. Like he just plays crappy characters. It's unfortunate because he's better than that. He's better than Troy or Trey, and he's better than whoever he was on Desperate Housewives.
Listen, I liked him on Sex and the City, but it was so sad seeing my Agent Cooper like as the impotent, you know, husband of Charlotte.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have a problem with it because I obviously I like him in the thing, but it was just like there was no other roles he was getting that could balance it out. He was kind of being shoved into the pathetic boyfriend, pathetic husband role all the time. And it wasn't until like Portlandia kind of came out that, you know, he was able to kind of express himself in a different way. And so I don't know. I think that he is utilizing so much of his acting chops that he's never been able to do in the past 25 years in this one role. And that's why I think Dougie, listen, you may be impatient wanting Cooper back, but I think this is a dream come true for Kyle to play Dougie on top of Cooper, on top of Doppelganger Cooper Bob or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like, this is why I say when Lynch and Frost gave him the 400-page script, he was like, like not even a question about it. Now, if they had given him a script where he was sitting in the Double R or in the Great Northern having, you know, breakfast with Audrey every morning, maybe he wouldn't be so keen to repeat the role. Maybe he would. But I think this gave him so much to chew on as opposed to just them resting on their laurels and, you know, just doing what everyone wanted them to do. And as I've said many, many times, this new Twin Peaks gives everything Twin Peaks fans, Twin Peaks diehard fans, everything we wanted to see, just but in a form we never expected to see it in, or we expected to see it. You know, it's it, none of us.
It was too hard to come in with any type of expectations for this because it's just so different.
But nobody expected it to be this story.
No.
I figured that we would be dealing with some sort of duality of man because of the Cooper split. That's the only thing that I was pretty much sure of, if they were going to actually follow the consequences of what they hinted at in the show and in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're giving that to us, but they're exploring it in a way that honestly I didn't think they had it in them to do. Mm-hmm. I thought that we were going to get a much more black and white picture of this, and what we're getting is gray, and not just gray in terms of the the opening with Cooper and the giant or 5 question marks, but we are dealing in layers here, right? Mm-hmm. It's back in the day, Blue Velvet, it was Jeffrey and Sandy versus Dennis Hopper. It was good and bad against each other. Mm-hmm. Who is the good? Who is the bad here? Even the doppelganger, he's a bad character. He's a terrible character, but we understand, we empathize with the fact that I wouldn't want to go back to that lodge either. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, the only clear bad people that we are aware of right now is Richard Horn and Deputy Chad.
Oh, he's the worst.
He is the worst. But okay, so going back to what's going on screen, here we have Naomi Watts, taking on the blackmailers. And again, like I was saying earlier, I thought that maybe she just treated Dougie like this. No, she treats anyone like this. And she's just holding this wad of cash, and she's schooling them on manners and behavior and, basically being a proper gentleman, even though you're demanding $25,000 from me. But again, they're like, hey, we got our money back. We got some interest. Okay, we'll let her go. She just walked away with $400,000. Mm-hmm. Good for her.
Yep.
And Jeremy Davis, it's always wonderful to see him. All right, here we have the hip hop. Now, I have to say, this is a comical, funny scene, and it's also probably what workplace violence looks like. Just random and weird, and what the hell is going on, and you're dead.
It's the stirring that really got me when he's stirring it in her. Ugh.
Yeah.
So terrible.
Right. Now, when they saw this actor being cast, they thought that this is who was replacing Michael J. Anderson.
Oh, no.
No, Lynch had other plans. I know some people have thought that this reminded them of Mulholland Drive, when that hitman has to keep killing different people that witnessed things. But and then what's weird is, like, we have this scene of, like, gratuitous violence, and then he comes out and the scene shifts to sadness because he bent his ice pick.
It's like my blade.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Oh no, it says in the closed captions. He's so sad.
Yeah. All right. So Richard Horn pulls up into, I don't know, he's in some sort of field. I guess a place of abandoned cars. And he's going to go try to look. He hears the electricity crackling. You see obviously a telephone pole in his windshield. And he's going to make this, he's going to try to get rid of the blood. Interesting that he just hit a kid, full speed, and there's not a dent in his car.
Yeah.
Or his truck, I mean.
And just a little bit of blood, just here and there.
Just a little bit, yeah. But, yeah, looking at this truck, listen, if this is Ben Horn's, one of his little love kids, yeah, I can see why he's pissed off, because probably Ben Horn didn't give them any money, and,
Yeah.
And because there's no way that somebody who is Audrey's kid is driving around in this truck unless he got just told to leave the house and never come back.
Mm-hmm. And we still have no idea what's happening with Audrey. I read this article today about everyone's mad that she hasn't shown up yet. Well,
I'm not mad.
Just give it time.
Let the story present. Let the story present itself, and I maintain that when we do see Audrey Horne, it may not be in the way we want to see Audrey Horne. So
Yeah, I'm pretty worried about that too.
Hold on tight. Okay, so now we have Hawk. He's in the bathroom. Contrary to what some other YouTube videos are saying out there, Hawk is not in the ladies' bathroom. Okay. Some people out there are saying that he is. He's not. He tells Deputy Chad to use the ladies' bathroom because he's trying to work on the door. But anyway, he drops this coin. Obviously, the Native American sign on it. He says Nez Purse Manufacturing on the back of the bathroom door, and I believe the Nez purse was in Mark Frost's book, talking about Hawk's heritage.
That I read something that they were the ones that had created the owl cave ring.
Okay.
I only read like the first 25 pages of the book, and then I got bored and didn't read it again. So
I was gonna say you're a big fan then.
Yeah, I mean I loved it. I rushed out to get it, but then I opened it and I was like, oh, okay. Now I'll give it another go.
Try the audiobook. You might like that more. Now, here's the thing. This is the same stall, I believe, that the one-armed man used in the season 2 when he was like, Bob, and he ran out of the sheriff's station. So this would be why this thing might be in the door. Now, what this looks like to me are pages from Laura's diary, but they're not ripped out. They're not ripped out. So they may have been taken out, or actually no, because she gave Harold the diary and then Annie came to her. So this is like specific paper, that wasn't part of the diary, maybe, when Hawk pulls out this paper, a wonderful person by the name of Robert Scott. I don't know how the hell you did this, Robert, but you did it. He freeze framed it in a way and punched in, and he came up with it says trying, and then over in the corner it says, "Oh, Annie." On the paper.
Come on, seriously?
Seriously. So good for you, Robert. Thank you.
Wow. Well, I mean, it seems so obvious that it is pages from the diary, but it's
well, don't you think it has to be? Because if we're dealing with Fire Walk with Me, that is kind of a big thing, right? That Annie Blackburn visited Laura.
Absolutely. And with the heritage thing, I've been racking my brain and thinking like, what tribe is he descendant from, and like, thinking about all their rituals and what could it be? No, it's a quarter. It's a quarter in a manufacturing company. Like, that's really what I think is what caught his attention. I think that's the only thing that we're missing is just those pages. So in a bathroom door, it's very strange.
So Frank Truman's here, and his wife Doris comes to visit him again. She's screaming about her dad and his car. So I'm under the impression that her dad is Harry Dean Stanton.
That sounds pretty good.
Because the fact that he had to get a ride into town, he's now moved to the town, and now they're taking over the sheriff's station, right? So they could have moved him up when they moved to the town.
It wouldn't be surprising.
Right. Now we have Deputy Chad being an ass once again. It was bad enough that he's screaming at Hawk saying, "I'm going to tell the sheriff that you're breaking into the bathroom door." Now he's like chewing out Frank Truman's kid because apparently he took his life after being in the war.
It's really hard to watch, actually. Just that one line with him, crying. It's really hard to watch.
Yeah. And some people have said online that that he's got the Doppelcooper's picture on his desk. He doesn't. It's not the Doppelcooper, Doppelcooper, or Doppelbob, Booper, as people call him. Yeah. So yeah, we can rest that mystery away. Yeah, I just wrote down Chad is the worst. I want to see a steel cage match right now between him and Richard Horne.
Yeah, right. I'd really like to just see Bobby shoot him at some point. So
yeah, I'm hoping
I'm all about Bobby. So
I'm hoping Bobby isn't dealing drugs, and I hope he stumbles upon Deputy Chad stealing drugs and kills himself another deputy.
Yeah.
That would be the best.
I'd be good with that.
All right, so the show concludes with yet another Roadhouse performance. This one by Sharon Van Etten, and then the credits roll. And what do you think about ending every episode with the exception of episode 5 and episode 1, if you split them up? Pretty much, but a lot of the episodes are ending with like these Roadhouse performances. What do you think about this?
I don't like it because as soon as I see someone start to sing, I know the show's over. So it's I don't like that.
But in the second episode, it wasn't, because it actually played into the story, because we saw Shelley and James and all that while someone was on stage. It was nice.
And that was the best one.
Mm-hmm. Right. And so that's what I was saying. It kind of makes sense that Lynch shot all these musical performances and then decided, where to put them at the, because they don't really engage with the story at all. They're just set pieces at the end.
Yeah, and it's not really my favorite type of music either. So a couple of the songs I'm just like, I would never listen to this, so I don't want this to be part of the soundtrack, but obviously it's going to. And
well, there's 2 soundtracks.
I love Julie Cruz. I mean, I love Julie Cruz. I have her albums. Like, I love what she does. Some of it's a little bit crazy, but I love listening to her, and I'm just not used to this yet. I don't like change.
You're not used to the Borders Music Store music selection here?
All this hipster emo stuff. No, thank you.
This is the new Twin Peaks, Mandy. You need to just get with the program right now. The song is called Tarifa by Sharon Van Etten. Yeah. You need
They're not bad. It was the last week's with the girl trio.
No,
that was my least favorite.
That was episode 4. Last week had Riley Lynch's band, the kind of guitar.
Was that at the end as well?
It was towards the end, and then it went to another scene. So it didn't end with that.
Oh, music. Right, because it ended with Cooper or with Dougie standing outside.
Exactly. So, all right. Well, that concludes the episode. I'm going to go to the chat now, see if there's any last minute questions before we go. I think they're just a few minutes behind, but we got quite a few of you guys in the chat here. Almost 100 people still after 90 minutes. Mandy, can you believe it?
Yay!
People have been listening to us babble about this for 90 straight minutes.
Awesome.
It's going so fast, you guys. The chat is going so fast. I can't even read it. So that you guys are just typing up a storm over here. Matt says, okay, the music is not hipster, Mandy. It's not emo.
Okay, well, what is it then?
All right.
I'm not cool enough to know.
Leonard says, hipsters don't even own TVs, and they'll let you know about it every chance. SPF 50 says, hipsters make good art, guys. Don't be dinosaurs. So we're here talking Twin Peaks, and they're in there arguing about the nature of hipsters. I love you guys. Rob says, I think the music though really fits. Would be strange to have Julie singing Rockin' Back Inside Your Heart in these episodes. But you know what would work in these episodes? Julie Cruz falling from the sky and hitting a car. That would happen. Did you ever see that, Mandy? The Industrial Symphony #1?
No, I didn't.
Okay,
I never did. I think I heard some of the music from it, but
yeah, Julie Cruz is singing in the air. She's flying through the air singing, and all of a sudden she falls off this rope, and then she falls on top of a car and hits the ground.
I think they had part of it on YouTube at one point, years and years ago. But yeah, it was odd.
Oh yeah. Bill Cole says the music is totally Twin Peaks, picked by Lynch himself. Pineapple Squid says this is music from David Lynch's mixtape. So you've started. Thank you for starting up a new controversy on this channel.
I am very sorry, everyone.
Reggie says I hope that Gordon Cole shows up and performs Crazy Clown Time at the Roadhouse. D-Mill says this is good stuff. Cameron and Mandy, thank you very much. Derry Dane says Industrial Symphonies, pure art magic. Huck Slam says, this is all hipster nonsense. We need to shut it down. Rob says, no doubt Julie will be at the Roadhouse for the final episodes. SPF says, Lynch is 70, okay? And he still listens to new music. So I think everyone's going a little nuts in here about the hipster music. Pineapple Squid says, heart Mandy. So you have been embraced by a few people here tonight. All right, guys, we're going to be going in a few minutes, so get out your last thoughts about this episode, and we're going to get out of here. Stephanie says, I love this new Twin Peaks. It really keeps me on my toes. So you're not writing the 1-star reviews, Stephanie? Come on. Robert says, this was an awesome show, you two. Derry says he has to go to work now. I'm sorry. Yeah, so many wonderful comments. Let's see, Mana Lit Cream says, of all the recurring constants from the old show, the Roadhouse is the only one I dislike in this new show. Jamie says, Lynch will live on forever on hipster music and cigarettes. Confucius says, every musical performance kind of fits the theme of each show. They reference Cooper's journey. Leonard says, definitely enjoyed Mandy's input tonight. Thank you. That basically translates into, thank God I didn't have to listen to Cameron talk for 90 straight minutes alone again. Thank you, Leonard. Mr. Darko says, it seems like every episode is moving faster. Seems like things are gradually ramping up. Matt Gilbert says, reviewers are always looking for things to, complain about. Criticism for the sake of criticism. SPF says, we are a passionate bunch. Ha ha ha. Hux is saying it's so late, it's early, but it's worth it. See, here's what's going on, Mandy. There's so many people that watch us overseas in other countries. They literally stay up till 3, 4 in the morning watching this stuff live. They don't want to watch it the next day. They want to participate and scream in the chat. Yeah. D-Mill222 says, do you think the Bookhouse boys will be involved in the rescue of Cooper? Only if Wally Brando. So. Only if Wally Brando is leading the charge with James Hurley. Robert says, I'm loving all this buildup. Haven't complained at all. This journey has been amazing, and it will continue to be so. Hunk says, top job, Cameron and Mandy. Cheers from the UK. Reggie says, it's only 1:38 in the East Coast. Okay. Enjoy the discussion. Thanks for doing the videos. Rob says, great watch along. Yeah, it's 2:38 here. But you guys are worth it. I'll tell you one thing. I wouldn't be watching this show live. I'd be in bed. I'm a big fan of Obnoxious Anonymous. I should be, I run the channel, but I would go to bed myself and then just watch it in the morning. So, JB says, Mandy is cool. Make sure to get Mandy back. So, yay, Mandy, I hope you had a good time and you didn't hate it too much.
I did. I loved it. It was awesome.
Oh, you did hate it? Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So I need you to go into the comments and give me a 1-star review and tell me that I am utter crap.
Okay.
Jorbs 150 says, I agree. I want Mandy back. Yeah. Maybe the next time I'll be like Angel and I'll sing the Barry Manilow song Mandy, and you can.
I was named after that song.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Pink Hornet says, basically, screw you guys. All on the East Coast. I'm in the middle of the afternoon in Australia.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
SPF says, I have no complaints about this new season so far because you are a real fan. Let's see. Yeah, you know what? I used to have an ex that would say that, like she it didn't matter album was good or bad or like that. If she was a fan of that band, it didn't matter. She just was a fan, no matter what. Like, this is the greatest band ever. Like, but this album isn't very good. I wouldn't say that because I'm a fan. A real fan does not, it's like a sports team or something. Supporting a sports team when they're down, like still the greatest team ever.
Yeah.
Whereas, let me tell you something. If David Lynch was completely screwing up Twin Peaks, I would say so. I'm not shy for words, and I would take the heat from everybody and probably get like 500,000 thumbs down on every single one of these YouTube videos. But I'm not saying it because the show is really good. Rob says, "Hey,
well, yeah, I admit, like Inland Empire, I didn't even finish. Couldn't even get through it. Couldn't.
I think you kind of have to watch that movie in 10-minute increments." So, SPF says, "Promise us you'll no longer let critics trigger you." Oh, I don't let critics trigger me. I just like calling out their looniness. That's all. And it's fun. I mean, trust me, if you know me in personal life, I'm not triggered at all by any of this, except for reading articles that say "bang bang bar." That's it. But it doesn't trigger me where I'm like in a rant and a rave and screaming, through my house like a maniac. I just go, "That's nice," and I click out of the article. Okay, but I'm done talking about that nonsense. I've had to defend it and people screaming at me all day long. But I do want to say one thing. We as fans should be talking about the nature of the Black Lodge. Why did Carl Ross see this boy's soul go up into the heavens? But it seems like a lot of Twin Peaks fans just want to argue about the nature of the Roadhouse versus the Bang Bang Bar. So there it is. Keeping everything at a surface level. Not you guys. I'm talking about just out there in the Facebook, IMDb world and everything. Let's see. You got some love for hating Inland Empire now. So good on that, Mandy. George is saying,
I didn't say I hated it. I just couldn't get through it. But
there you
it's
go.
Basically the same thing.
Evan says David Lynch will be your 2,000th subscriber. Yeah. Robert says, Cameron, it's the Bang Bang Lodge. Just kidding.
Oh, jeez.
Oh boy, they're starting to lose it. It's the middle of the night. Let's see. Reggie says David Lynch used to read message boards back in the day, so he might like these videos. Listen, I have no confirmation on this, but I'm pretty convinced that he's aware of these videos. I've interviewed too many people that work with him to not know about some of this stuff. So SBF says that he's making fun of me here because he's telling me I'm triggered. Jamie says, I want to talk about Mike Nelson's job application process for the next 4 hours. That would be great. Hunk Slam says, it's Roadhouse. It's Bang Bang Bar. It's Bang Bang Bar. It's Roadhouse. Ah! Pink Hornet says, I expect Frost and Lynch to have us see Richard Horn as bad. They will give us a backstory that will make him more ambiguous. Let me tell you something. When you introduce a character by allowing him to sexually grope a woman in front of everybody at the Roadhouse, kind of hard to build sympathy.
Yeah.
Robert says, sorry, guys. I'm tired and I'm drinking. Love this show. I'm never unsubbing. SPF says, it's called the Pink Room, not the Roadhouse. You bastard. The Pink Room's in Canada. You know that. I know you're just trolling me. Thanks. George says, you should get an interview with Lynch. Oh, I remember Hal and I did a representation of what that would be like the other day. And I'm sure that I could ask questions in a way that not that Lynch would answer them, like telling me the meaning of the Black Lodge or something like that. I wouldn't even ask that question. I would ask him about stuff that no one's ever asked him about, but it wouldn't be like explain yourself. That would never be one of the questions ever. Explain to me why you did this. Because I felt like it. Robert says his name should be Richard Bang Bang Horn. Oh, you are just, everyone's going crazy now. Let's see. Mr. Darko says, in Twin Peaks, Canada is a den of evil and sin. How do you feel about your country's representation, Mandy? in Twin Peaks.
What? I don't. What? What?
How do you feel about your country's representation?
Oh, I see. I'm choosing not to answer that.
Oh, because One-Eyed Jacks and obviously the Pink Room. So
We're a very welcoming people. That's what I'll say.
Oh, Honks, you're going after my heart here. He says, I have a Bang Bang Bar t-shirt, but I tell all my friends it's my Roadhouse t-shirt. Oh my
awesome.
goodness. Oh my goodness. You guys are just out of control tonight. D Mill 222 says, will we see One-Eyed Jack soon? Listen, we haven't even seen Big Ed yet. So,
yeah.
But I do hope we will at least get a reference to One-Eyed Jacks, like, they shut it down or something. I mean, maybe the whole thing collapsed after Blackie died. I mean, I know they like go back with Hank and what's his name, the stepdad Ernie, to One-Eyed Jacks, but maybe he got shut down, shortly after that. Jorbs is saying that he wants James on this show. Well, he'll have his own video probably up in a few hours, guys. So just chill out. He's got his own YouTube channel now. He's going his own path, and I wish him the best. And so I'm sure you'll check out. Jorbs is probably talking about James Hurley. Well, still, it's part of the Hurley journey. But
there you go.
No. Yeah, we need more James Hurley because he shows up and then in the first episode, like Ben Horn, and then never comes back. So, yeah, Jorbs is saying, I did mean James Hurley. Okay, well, there you go. You got two answers for the price of one. All right? Two birds with one stone. Richard Alinda. Suck on that. Okay.
Oh, no.
Voltaire says, yeah, the little assassin, you mean Ike the Spike? He is going to stab Dougie, leading to a vision with the giant. Cooper is back. Yeah. Stuart wants to know, again, do we all think that Doppelganger Cooper is the father of the Horn Boy? Charles says, no, we can live without James Hurley. Sorry, dude. Sorry, Charles. James has always been cool. Robert Bridget, he calls out Chris Holland's videos. Mandy, have you watched Chris Holland's videos on YouTube?
No, I haven't.
It's they're very amusing. They're very funny.
Okay.
And yeah, he supports us in this channel, so I support him. Good job, Chris. You can make really funny videos. I would love to make videos like you, but I just worry that will infringe on YouTube's copyright and they'll penalize me for it. So I don't even go there.
Didn't he make the one where Coop and Daria are listening to Just You and I or something like that? He plays it for her.
Yeah.
Is that what that was?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
Yeah. Or the best one was when Tamara Preston and Gordon Cole and Albert are sitting at the table, and instead of the ghost image in the box, it was the James and Evelyn plot line, and it cut to Gordon going, "What the hell?"
That was really good. Yeah.
JB says, Ike can't stab Dougie with that bent ice pick. Well, if Jay can give 2 rides, Ike can stab 2 people with that thing. Mr. Darker says, that will probably be the last time we see James Hurley. James will never be on the show again after someone says that James has always been cool. No, he will be back. I can guarantee you that. He will be back. Jorbs is worried that the show is going to end with Cooper coming back. It'll be like the last scene. I'm worried more, Mandy, of like it ending with him in the Grey Lodge with the giant, and he's still stuck at the end of this whole thing.
They wouldn't. They couldn't. It doesn't make sense at all. They couldn't do that to us. Because clearly they owe everything to us. But you know what I mean? Like,
no, but the Twin Peaks fans would revolt. They would revolt,
Yeah.
and they would burn the Twin Peaks Festival to the ground.
And we have to remember too that, I mean, sure, we can say that, you know, the fans were what really helped get this thing back on the road and stuff. David Lynch and Mark Frost love Twin Peaks. They love it more than we do. They're going to take care of their baby. You know, like we don't have to worry. Well, not too much, I don't think. I don't think it will end with Cooper being stuck in a lodge.
Here's the thing. What if Red is little Nicky grown up?
I don't even want to think about little Nicky. I don't want him brought into this equation. I really don't. I just don't. It makes me so angry. Like, you want to hear me go on a rant? Just talk about little Nicky. I can't handle it. I would hope not. I think that would be the worst thing ever. So no, I'm sorry. No.
Well, that might explain why he's able to spin a dime in the air.
Oh, you're right, actually.
Mr. Darko says, what if the show ends with the ultimate showdown between Cooper and Evil Coop? Oh my goodness. I don't think this whole thing is building up to like a major fist fight on the peaks of the mountains with Garmin Bozia cream corn shooting out of the volcanoes.
Oh jeez. Or one of them falling to their death down the falls or something.
Yeah, and the tree up, the evolved tree is up there and it says, "Let them fight." Yeah, that's
dear.
We got a snort. Did you hear that, guys? We got a snort.
It's so
We got one.
I'm on the internet. Woo.
It's okay. Yeah, Mr. Darko agrees. That's a great idea. Coop versus Coop on top of the Twin Peaks. Let's do it. Be the greatest thing ever. You know, especially with Hawk going, "You must fight your shadow self." Hopefully it'll be a better fight scene than the Chet Desmond Sheriff Cable fight scene.
Where is Chris Isaac? Chris Isaac has to be in this show.
If he's not in the show, they need to deal with Chet Desmond. They need to at least bring him up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like when Gordon was like, "Halbert, you know, what do you think?" And he's like, "Blue Rose." He should have been like Chet Desmond.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, all these little paths are going to lead to an eventual end, I'm sure, but I really want to know more about that.
Right. No, I agree. But 6 episodes in, 1/3 through this new series, it's been an amazing journey, and it's hard to believe it's only been what, a month? Right? Has it been a month?
Not even.
No?
It's the 21st, so.
No.
What's the date? The 12th?
No, because we had 4 episodes the first week, and then we had a 2-week break, and then we got an episode, then we got another episode. So it's been 4 weeks.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Oh, 1, 2, yeah.
But I can't believe how I just, you know, it's hard to believe how fast this is going.
I know it is. When Saturday I decided to just take 5 hours and just go through the whole thing again, and it was like, I can't believe I have this much to watch already, but we've already, like, now we're 6 episodes in. It's going too fast and too slow, and I want it all right now, and I want it to drag on for a year. So
right. Rob says that besides Chet Desmond, he really wants the new show to deal with Annie. Me too. Kyle did confirm on Twitter a long time ago that we will find out about Annie in this new show. So
I rewatched the whole thing before we started, like the show again. I hadn't watched it for probably a couple years, and it was the first time I actually liked Heather Graham. I was like, oh, I kind of dig this Annie chick. I didn't like her. I hated Annie.
Listen.
Hated her.
Listen. She is the best representation of a suicidal ex-nun that we've ever had on screen. I love Annie Blackburn. Bite your tongue. Because to me, it's like, listen, they're not going to do the Cooper Audrey love story. So they gave him this other character, but they act like some people act like this other character is like this like terrible, like just other girl part that they gave Cooper. But they found a way to tie it in with everything and have it come back in with the whole Caroline subplot. Obviously, Lynch didn't think it was some crazy Mark Frost thing, that he abandoned it because he brought her back in the movie, you know?
Yeah.
So he obviously felt that Annie Blackburn was important enough. He didn't stick Sherilyn Fenn in the bed with Laura. He stuck Heather Graham in the bed with Laura. Mm-hmm. So, you know, so fans need to just deal with that. Annie Blackburn is, you know, some people out there have like scared the living crap out of me by saying that, because, and also that's what Kyle MacLachlan did say on Twitter. Let's remind everybody. He did say that the new Twin Peaks would bring about diarrhea to a great many people, which is, he said that on Twitter. He said it's rather shocking and surprising he would say that, but you know, I don't even know where I was going with that. But well, no, because you know. Oh yeah. Someone scared the crap out of me by saying that they feel like Annie might have been a constructed person like Dougie.
Mm-hmm. I can jump on board with that.
Right, because she might seem like a perfect ethereal kind of angelic character. Mm-hmm. But then we also have to think about Audrey when she's at the Miss Twin Peaks contest. I was going to say concert. What the hell? They weren't doing bands back then at the Miss Twin Peaks thing. But Audrey says, you know, her speech is about, you know, saving the forest and stuff. And she says, you know, you have to fight for what you care about or lose it forever. And when she says lose it forever, it cuts to Cooper looking at her. And obviously we're thinking about it in terms of Cooper and Annie and the Queen and all that stuff. But that also might come into play as well if Audrey is the one trying to rescue Cooper out of the Black Lodge, if she is the billionaire that everyone seems to think she is. But if she has that kind of money, then it either comes from her family with Ben Horne and also from John Justice Wheeler. And I don't know if people are ready to deal with the fact that John Justice Wheeler might be in this new show as well, or at least his character, or, you know, or she is the widow of John Justice Wheeler. You know, if just saying, can't have one without the other.
I personally would love to see Billy Zane.
He still looks good.
John Justice Wheeler. Yeah, I think that would be awesome.
You know what? I liked both those characters. I never had a problem with both those characters. I don't care about the backstage drama of it all. Listen, there are people that you have connections with. Sometimes those connections lead somewhere. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes you just become friends. Sometimes you had your chance, but it didn't work out, timing or whatever, and you meet other people. And that's what Annie and John Justice Wheeler was. You know, I mean, Cooper and Audrey weren't going to hook up, even though she was 18 and legal. I mean, she still was a senior in high school.
Well, yeah,
I know, but the fans, like, before this show began, a lot of fans were online saying that basically all they wanted when this new show was just to have Cooper and Audrey end up together. Like Lynch and Frost were just going to provide fan service of that. Coffee, donut jokes, and then Cooper and Audrey, you know, living it up together, happy. Like, sorry, folks, that's not what we're getting. We're getting Dougie. We're getting little people killing people with ice picks. Okay. We're getting long segments in the Black Lodge. And, you know, we're getting Tom Sizemore and we're getting Jade Gives Two Rides. I mean, that's the new Twin Peaks, everybody. Okay. And Audrey is probably in a wheelchair, horribly deformed from the bank explosion. Yep. She probably looks like Boxing Helena, right? So I'm just saying.
I love that. I love that movie, by the way. Yeah. I don't know why. Julian Sands creeps me out, but I love him and I love that movie.
Helena. You know.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah.
Oh.
Which, by the way, guys, if you have not seen my interview with Jennifer Lynch on this YouTube channel, check it out. It's pretty awesome. Have you seen it, Mandy?
No, I haven't.
You have to see it.
Okay.
Imagine me having Jennifer Lynch sitting in a chair and not letting her go for over 2 hours interviewing her.
No, that'd be awesome. She seems like the coolest person ever.
She is the coolest person ever. And the first question I ask her, you have a member of the Lynch family, right? You have a very well-known daughter of a famous director. She's a very good director herself. She's made a bunch of features. She's done a lot of TV.
Mm-hmm.
So, have her in the hot seat. First question up. Not tell me about Eraserhead. Not tell me about Boxing Helena. First question I ask her. Because, she's done interviews before and she's used to the standard questions. What's it like being a part of the Lynch family? What was it like growing up with David as your dad? Now, my first question was, so what do you think about all these Marvel movies? What do you think about the Marvel Cinematic Universe? And she answers the question. And and I'm telling you, it's the first time a member of the Lynch family has ever gone on record about the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Oh my gosh.
It's amazing.
What made you, why did you choose that question to be the first one?
Something had to break the ice.
Fair enough.
And I watched a bunch of her interviews for a week, and I made sure that every question I asked her was something that she had never been asked before.
Okay.
So what's the point of asking the same stuff that someone has the same stock answers over and over again?
Yeah, exactly.
But what it basically became was, like, we know the David Lynch story, right? He was married to her mom. They got divorced. He went and finished Eraserhead, made Elephant Man, moved on, right? My idea was, I want to know this story, but from the daughter's perspective of the one that, lost, her dad divorced her mom and moved on and became this great director. And she was growing up in his shadow. What was that like?
Mm-hmm.
And so we kind of trace her journey all the way through the years, but from the perspective of that. So anyway, it was the first big, quote unquote, celebrity interview I'd ever done. But that really kicked down the door, because before then, Twin Peaks, David Lynch, that kind of discussion was something that I reserved for close friends. It was something that I reserved for people that really knew me. It was something I never talked about online at all. But that interview just kind of brought it all back in my head.
Yeah.
And brought back so many memories. And so then I was contacted by James, who at that time was working on the Facebook page Bring Back Twin Peaks, which became Twin Peaks Worldwide. And James said, wow, that interview you did with Jennifer Lynch was really good. It'd be really fun to do is do some like Twin Peaks discussions and record them, sort of like a video podcast. I went, yeah, that could be fun, because I was kind of still in the mood, right, from doing the interview.
Yeah.
And those videos, 5 years later, I'm still doing them.
Wow, that's awesome.
So it's amazing how just something you do randomly becomes something that you do for the next 5 years off and on. So anyway, there's some history for you as to why there's Twin Peaks videos on this YouTube channel. James is the one that kind of got me going on this, and there it is. But what's great is that James then got inspired to start up his own YouTube channel, and he's moving forward with that. So like I said, I wish him the best. And I've met some really amazing people doing these videos. Obviously, I never would have met you. There's a lot of people on the internet that I never would have known if I hadn't gotten involved with this community. So there's been more
Yeah,
good
that's
than
awesome.
there's been more good than bad. And I have to say that the most wonderful good of all is having all you guys that stop your day to not only watch these videos, but to watch them live. Again, there's almost 100 of you guys still watching, and I cannot thank you
Wow,
enough.
really?
Yeah, it's amazing. So, and
That's neat.
I appreciate each and every one of you, like I said at the beginning, and so thank you very much. So, Manny, we're gonna wrap it up. I think we're good. I think we're done for tonight. But thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it, and I hope you'll come back.
Yeah, I'd love to. Thanks for having me.
Cool. Very cool. And thank you guys again for watching. Make sure to, like I said, make sure to like these videos, share them, and subscribe to this channel. Need to get it to 2,000 subscribers. So, all right, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. It's kind of a longer video than normal, but you guys deserve it. So we will see you soon. I'll be doing a couple probably Twin Peaks thoughts of the day this week. I know I'm going to be doing one on Wednesday with Joel Bacco from Lost in the Movies, and probably do one later in the week with Hal and Frank, maybe some other people as well. And then, of course, Sunday we'll have another episode of Twin Peaks, and then it all begins again. It just seems like it's never ending, but I love it. I love living in this world, and I love making these videos and engaging with all you guys. So from the bottom of my heart, have a great night, great morning, wherever you are in the world, and I will see you next time. Take care.